there is a substantial difference between the payment provision of FIDIC Red and Yellow Book compared with the Silver Book. In this video, we will explore about the court in Australia, how they deal with the Silver Book provision. The Silver Book, which refers to condition of contract for EPC and technical project. The Silver Book is recommended for technical provision of project of power plants, factories, and infrastructure when the employer wishes the maximum degree of certain in terms of cost and time of the work and intend to have the contractor entire responsibility for the design and execution of the work. Before we discuss our case study, let us know the meaning of payment due under FIDIC books. The payment provision in FIDIC Red and Yellow books are dealt with Clause 14. The contractor submits an application for payment and the engineer under subclause 14.6 determine what is due. Subclause 14.6a and b allow the engineer to make certain deductions where the work done is not accordant with the contract or the contractor has failed to perform its obligation. Under subclause 14.7, the employer is required to pay the amount certified in each interim payment certificate. Under FIDIC Silver Book, the contractor submits an application for payment and the employer is required to give notice to the contractor within 20 SD of any item which he disagrees with. Similar to the Red and Yellow Book, subclause 14.6a and b allow the employer to make certain deductions where the work done is not in accordance with the contract or the contractor has failed to perform its obligation. Subclause 14.6 then that payments due shall not be. Based on the case study, the Supreme Court of Queensland analysed the meaning of subclause 40.6 in FIDIC Silver Book and state the meaning of the word payment due. So now, let's take a look for the fact and decision from the court.
Judgment, the contractor, and Discovery, the employer, enter into a $19 million contract for the engineering, design, testing, procurement, construction, and commissioning for the Bostori copper plant in Botswana, Southern Africa. The contract, which was governed by the law of Queensland, was based on FIDIC Silver Book. Judgment applied for an interim payment for $20 million. In the subclause 14.6 of Amendment FIDIC Silver Book, it required Discovery Copper to give notice within 7 days if they disagree with any items in the application of payment. Discovery Copper failed to give the notice within 7 days and did not contest the application until 14 days later. Judgment applied to the court for payment for the sum claimed. However, the Discovery Copper challenged judgment rights to payment on 3 grounds. First, the claim was not served in the format specified by the contract. Second, according to the proper interpretation of the contract, the absence of a specific notice within 7 days challenging the claim did not automatically entitle the applicants to the amount claimed. Third, the application to the court for payment should be stayed to arbitration as the contract contained an arbitration clause. Judgment sought to argue that it was clear that they were entitled to payment and that there could be no genuine dispute over the sum claimed. The decision. The court disagreed with judgment. It held that there was simply nothing in the wording of clause 14.3 that could transform an unanswered claim into a debt due and payable. It noted that the interim payment clause have to be viewed in the context of a number of other provisions dealing with the valuation of work, variations, and other claims and processes under the contract anterior to the claim being included in an interim payment application. The court reasoned that if the employer had, for example, valued a variation under the variation clause, it could be incongruous for the variations to be displaced by an interim payment claim for a higher amount that become a debt because the employer had not responded within 7 days to the interim payment claim.
Payment provision. Silver book payment provisions favor the employer. There is therefore a substantial difference between the payment provision of the red and yellow books compared with the silver books. While subclause 14.6 of the red and yellow books obligates the employee to pay to the contractor the amount certified in each interim payment certificate, the silver books only requires the employer to pay the amount which is due in respect of each statement. The amount which is due is not the sum claimed by the contractor, but the sum which is determined by applying all the provision relating to payment. The sum claimed is therefore open to dispute. In conclusion, the decision in Segment V Discovery Cooper has a number of practical consequences. One example related to termination. Under subclause 16.2c of the red and yellow books, a contractor may terminate the contract where it does not receive the amount due under an interim payment certificate. Under 16.2b of the silver books, the contractor may terminate where it does not receive the amount due in the period which payment is to be made. However, a contractor must now be extremely careful because the amount due can only be determined by applying all the provision relating to payment. Under the silver books, an employer is in a much stronger position if it wishes to withhold money. There is no quick way for the contractor to get paid without going through the dispute resolution provision. If, as stated by Lord Denning, cash flow is the very lifeblood of the construction industry, then a contractor needs to be wary of the silver books payment provision. Thank you.